Hey there, and so I know this content isn't usually what I put out on the channel, but I couldn't resist the temptation to download it and record my first impressions just because I like playing with new AI software. This feels like a pretty important release from OpenAI, and I don't know, let's just see what happens. Maybe we'll do some more software reviews in the future, other types of software like browsers, AI applications, note-taking applications, whatever makes sense. So let's just try it out. In case you weren't aware, OpenAI just released their own AI browser. They entered the browser wars, joining the ranks of Perplexity's Comet browser, the browser company's Dia, and I believe there's one more I'm possibly missing. Actually, there's a couple, but they're not from any big names, so they're slipping my mind right now. This one seems to be one of the biggest ones. Surprising Google hasn't introduced their own version, but I'm sure that's coming soon. So without further ado, let's just download it. Let's see what it looks like. Let's see what the setup process is all about. If it's any good, if it's garbage, if it's time to maybe switch browsers, I guess we'll find out together. By the way, I'm doing this inside of the Dia browser, as you can see, which just allows me to have this AI chat window that's available on any page, and it has the context of the page, and I can reference other things. So this obviously isn't the first time I play with a browser that has some sort of AI features. And I honestly don't use many of the AI features. The one that has been most useful for me in Dia is the one where it has the context of the current page. That's where it's most useful. Keeps me from having to scroll and copy things and then put them into an AI whenever I want to do that. That's really the most useful thing. So it seems like it's downloaded. Let's install it and see what the setup is like and what the first impressions are. All right, so I just opened it up. We get this little pop-up here. Welcome to ChatGPT Atlas. It combines ChatGPT and web browsing in one powerful tool. Okay, we're going to log in with ChatGPT. I'm just going to log in for a second. All right, and we're in. I seem to have missed a couple of screens because I needed to use my phone to confirm my ID once I try to log into the ChatGPT account. So I missed some of the setup, but essentially it asked me if I wanted to turn on something called browser memories, which I'm assuming is different from regular ChatGPT memories. It also asked me if I wanted to set it as a default browser. I said no. Apparently, if you do decide to set it as your default browser, you're going to get 7 days of extended limits on messaging, file uploads, data analysis, and image generation in ChatGPT Atlas. So they're really pushing this hard for you to try and set it up as your default browser. We're not going to do that just yet. We're just going to try it out. And you can also spin the ChatGPT logo. So that's definitely something worth considering if you're thinking about switching. So the first impression is it's very clean. It's very minimal. It seems like they really just try to put something out the door. This looks just like ChatGPT.com. Let's open it up. Okay, so this is ChatGPT.com. Let me switch over to the other tab. This is the default brand new tab that you get. Very similar. We're missing the temporary chat icon. I'm not seeing that. Otherwise, we've got the model picker in the top left-hand corner. Same as on the web. The sidebar, where's the sidebar? Okay, here's our sidebar. Here's our previous chats. We got projects, codecs, GPTs, rest in peace, and archive chats, all the other stuff. So this looks pretty much identical to what you get in the website. And also, I just noticed that if you keep the sidebar closed or if you open it in one, it'll also, oh no, thought it keeping it open in one, opened it in the other one, but I guess I was just hallucinating. There we go. See, I closed it here and it also closed it here. So maybe sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. We don't get the voice mode like we do in ChatGPT.com. We just get the voice to text, so we don't have to type. Clicking the plus gives us the usual stuff. Oh, here's this new, okay, so here's the browser memory. We have agent mode, create images, deep research, tab search, more. Okay, the usual stuff. And I had previously connected Spotify just to play with that. Interesting for 5 minutes, and then I never looked at it again. But who knows? We'll see what other types of applications are added to ChatGPT. So for now, I see two things that kind of stand out to me: browser memory and tab search. Everything else is familiar to anyone using ChatGPT on the web. Let's look at browser memory. Ask ChatGPT or type a URL. So I'm guessing it's just going to look through our browsing history. No. Okay, I clicked it. Nothing happened. It opened up a new tab. So interesting. Not a great first impression. Browser memory. Maybe these are just like placeholders where it's pulling information from my account. Marketing content history. I have never written this and I've never asked this question. So I'm guessing this is just pulling it from my browsing history for pages related to work with. It's interesting. Okay, so during the setup process, it did ask me if I wanted to log in. And I think it didn't ask me if it wanted to import anything from another browser. That's why I'm surprised that it's pulling from, I don't know, I'm guessing Chrome, because obviously I use Chrome for work. I use Dia for work as well. it didn't ask me, or rather it did ask me and I said no. So I'm not sure where this information is coming from. Maybe it's from my previous ChatGPT interactions. Weird. I'm not really sure where it's actually getting this from. Obviously, I get why it's including information about workflow. I understand why it's asking for these things. These are some of the things that I sometimes use ChatGPT for to brainstorm video ideas and things like that, and for workflow marketing. But I don't know where it's actually getting them from because it's saying it checked the browser history, which is weird because I don't have a browser history. So I'm assuming it's just checking the browser history. It didn't find anything because there's nothing in here. This is the first time I've used the browser. And instead it's pulling then from my ChatGPT regular history or something like that. So I'm assuming that's what's happening, but I would also assume that at some point after you use this, you'll be able to reference previous sessions, questions and things, conversations, and then use that as context as well. Okay, there we go. Interesting. Next, we have tab search. What is that? Search your tabs. Okay, interesting. I can see if you open up 20 different tabs, you're doing some sort of research, and then you just want to one-shot all the different tabs and search through them, all of them, give me a summary or combine the information or make interesting connections or whatever. You might use that. What else do we have here? So let's do a search. So what does that look like? Let's see. Let's just type in Hacker News, see what happens here. So first instance here, we get this little icon here. It looks like a chat, but I'm going to assume no, actually, I'm going to assume it's a chat because otherwise it would be this thing right here, right? So if we just hit enter, what's going to happen? Okay, and we get this kind of weird view here. It looks very similar to the main page, but we've got these little icons: home, search, images, videos, news. What is all this? Because this looks like just regular chat. And we have the usual suspects here. So what's all this? This looks like search results. We've got some inline images here. And then we also get a summary. So if you've used any sort of AI-powered browser, Perplexity being the biggest one, this is going to look very familiar. You get some images that it's pulled from the search results, and then some sort of a summary, or it's answering your question or whatever. And then scattered throughout, you get references of where it's pulling the information from. So this feels very familiar. Cool. Click on sources. What do we get? Okay. So we can explore the sources. Okay. So that's what this thing is. Yeah, this looks like some sort of a mashup between Google and then Perplexity. And then at the bottom, you have ChatGPT. So that's kind of cool. So wait, what is search? Is search just the search? No summary, no AI, funny business? Okay, so if you want to use it just like a search, I guess you can do that. No ads so far. So it's got that on Google. Click on images, image search, videos. We've got videos. Okay, it's pulling from YouTube. Okay, kind of limited. Click on Google. What does that do? Opens up the search in Google. Let's go back and click on news. What is this? News results. I guess it's just pulling from Google. Okay, so it's almost like a skin on top of Google. Really, these last three tabs. Let's see. Okay, so now it's saying no images found. Seems like they've still got a couple of bugs. Okay, yeah, I recognize this image. Okay, so it is almost like for these last three sections, it's almost just what you would see on a Google search, which is kind of interesting. I don't know how Google's going to feel about that. Let's see. Okay, so now let's open a page and let's see what we've got here. So again, on the left, it seems we've got just our regular ChatGPT interface, all the tools. And then on the right hand up here, we have got an Ask ChatGPT icon. Let's see, there's got to be a keyword shortcut for that. What is it? Okay, it's a little weird Apple icon and the greater than sign. Okay, and then what do we got here? Agent mode. Ask ChatGPT to perform complex tasks in the browser for you. Summarize, learn more. Okay, and this is, I guess, how we can get rid of the context. So right now it's just going to automatically select the current tab. Let's add another tab just out of curiosity. Let's open up some of the links from this page, and then we're going to just go to this one, open up the sidebar, and it automatically selects the current one. Can we reference any other tabs the way that you can in Dia? And I'm assuming you could also do it in the Perplexity comment browser? No. What if we get rid of it? Can we add it? Attach tab. Okay. So there's slash commands. Okay. So these at the bottom here are custom GPTs that I made at some point. Add photos and files, deep research, create image, browser memory. Okay. You can also reference the browser memory from here. Funny that you can't add tabs though. That feels like it would be the most obvious one. And also if we go back to a blank tab, I remember it said something about, what was it? Tab search. So that's kind of weird. Why do we have tab search here? Which I'm assuming is just you search all the tabs and then, but it's not in here. Kind of odd. Let's see if it's actually going to do that. Let's see. Summarize my open tabs. Let's just, okay, what's going on? So I'm hitting enter. Nothing's happening though. I'm getting a little ping sound. It's not liking that. Odd. Let's try that again. Summarize my open tabs. No, it's not liking that. Okay, so I don't know what, yeah, search your tabs. Okay, it's literally a search. Why would you do that? Okay, let's look for something like NASA, right? We've got a link here about NASA chief suggests SpaceX, blah, blah, blah. NASA. No? What is it then? I don't understand. Is it literally just searching the title of the tab? That wouldn't make sense, would it? Okay, that's this one right here. Let's see. Disco. That's this one right here. Oh boy, this is bad. No, this is, what is this for? I would have assumed that tab search meant you search through the open tabs and then you can feed the context and it would use that for the model. But apparently that is not what's happening. And even the icon is different. What is this? It sends you to the tab that you searched for. I don't know. Kind of weird. I don't think this is going to be all that useful. Yeah, tab search. I don't know. I don't get the point of this. What was the point of that? You're searching through, I don't know. Okay. Maybe I'm getting too hung up on it. It just seems kind of like a weird thing because it's right here in the main menu. I would assume that it's some sort of functionality that is going to be very core to the experience. So like right on the brand new tab view, we get add tabs. So this is what I was looking for. Let's see, we go add tabs. Okay, so now we can add multiple. No, we can only add one. So that's not good. Okay, and it just replaces the current one. Okay, so it's early days. It's the first day of release. Maybe we can't expect it to do everything. It's curious that it wouldn't let you select multiple sources the way that the Dia browser does. But I guess I'm just spoiled because the Dia browser has been around for a little bit longer. So maybe that's what's happening. Okay, so a weird option there. What about, well, we already looked at browser memory. It didn't work because we don't have a browser memory, but I'm assuming, well, actually, now that I've seen how the tab search works, or rather doesn't work, now I'm curious about how the browser history is going to work. Is it actually going to search through the browser history? Or is it going to do some sort of a weird thing? We've got some history here now, right? Let's see. Let's open up build your own databases. Let's open up the one about NASA just to give it a little bit of history. And by the way, you'll have to excuse the noise. I'm well aware there is a ridiculous amount of dog barking going on. Some neighbors have moved in and they have, I don't know how many dogs. I can hear them all the way over here. I hope it doesn't come through on the audio, but I guess we will see. Or at least I hope it isn't too annoying because I could definitely hear them in real life. All right, so we've opened up a couple of tabs here. I'm assuming this is going to give us a little bit of history, right? It's not brand new. Now let's look for something related to NASA. Have I browsed anything related to NASA? Let's see if that works. Okay, searching browser memories. Yeah, you've only got one recent visit that mentioned NASA. Okay, there we go. You checked out the CNN article titled Space Moon X earlier today around, okay, that's very precise. Interesting. I looked through your history specifically for anything with NASA in the title or URL. Does that sound like the page you were thinking of? You need to use ChatGPT 5 Instant. Interesting. So unless you turn off browser history in any browser, and I think probably most people do not turn off browser history, this kind of information is available. However, it's not this readily available. It's one search away. Also, it depends on how accurate it is and how much context it's going to have to search through. As you can imagine, in a single browsing session, maybe 2-3 hours or longer, how many pages do you visit? How able is it going to be at keeping track of everything? Is it going to use RAG? Is it going to just do a keyword search? I have no idea how this is going to work. So it'll be interesting. But still, I think most people are probably going to be concerned about the ability to search through your entire browser history in an instant. And it's not a keyword search, right? It's just, has this person browsed anything related to insert whatever topic you want? I think people are going to be not too happy with that, or they're going to have to, I don't know, password protect it or something, because that feels a little bit sensitive, right? Your browser history is kind of like peeking into your mind. You Google things you would probably never ask anyone in person or tell anyone in person. So having the ability to search through that is obviously very convenient. but is also unsettling. And obviously, this means that now OpenAI is going to have access to all of that. Of course, Google also has access to that. So I guess it's like, which one of the giant monopolies and power hungry CEOs do you trust more, or are you worried about least? Is the question. So yeah, just kind of something to think about. And so I was thinking, why don't we take some notes on this? So the setup was quick and simple. One thing that concerning, where is it getting my browser history from if I just installed it? Probably previous ChatGPT chats. That's not clear. I'm just assuming that's the case. Oh, and I just discovered something else here. So selecting text gives you this little purple icon. And if you click on it, I have no idea what happens, but you can move it around. Describe your change. Change. Okay. Let's select all of, maybe you can't do that. Yeah, okay, fine. Let's just select this, click it, describe your change, rewrite this line. Is that what that means? Writing, update. Okay, yeah, probably previous ChatGPT chats, and it rewrote it most likely from your past ChatGPT conversations. Update. Okay, so you can now invoke ChatGPT to make changes to your text in the browser. Okay, interesting. And it makes sense because I think a lot of people probably, when they're jumping from a ChatGPT or some sort of large language model, and they're in the browser and they're doing something else in another tab, writing an email or formatting something, or maybe they're working in a, let's say, a spreadsheet online, probably doing a lot of copying and pasting back and forth. So this probably is a good way to do that, just to reduce the friction, make it really instant. Nice. It seems very limited. I'm sure you could do other things with it, but it's not immediately obvious what you might want to do. Obviously, the most obvious things are refining text, translating, things like that. Very useful. So I'm on a blank line and I can't, no, I can. There we go. New line. Okay, yeah, ask ChatGPT to help write. Write me a Wikipedia style paragraph on photosynthesis, which is my go-to for generating a bunch of text. And it did. And then we can ask for another edit. Can we refine this? So for example, let's say, make it longer. There we go. Okay, it did. I don't know if that was actually longer. Let's see. Explain the process to a 10-year-old. I'm just testing right now. Is this keeping some sort of a context of the previous edit? And then we are refining that. And it seems like that is exactly what's happening. You can't go back. There's no way to see the previous versions. If we open up the sidebar, there we go. Okay. Okay, so here we go. It's adding the, okay, what's going on? It's adding the chats from the browser into our regular ChatGPT account. And here we go. What happened? I just had it, right? I'm not hallucinating. You saw that there was the thing about the ChatGPT. I'm not hallucinating, right? You saw the thing about photosynthesis that we just asked it to write for us, and now it's gone. So that's weird. Let's go back. Did it open our notes once more? Where are we? Where are we? Here we are. Okay, weird. Let's refresh. Let's see. Maybe it's because we didn't actually confirm the change that the history was not written. It's like temporarily held and then it's not stored to your account unless you confirm it. Let's try that again. Let's just do that. Is there a slash command? Because putting your cursor on a new line and then trying to hover over the little line to get the icon feel a little fiddly. Is there a way to, okay, maybe WorkFlowy is not the best place to try this because it has its own slash command. But let's think of where we could try this. Okay, I tried this in the URL bar and it worked. Not what I was looking for. I was looking for this guy right here when you click on the little purple ChatGPT icon. And okay, let's just confirm one of these to see what happens. Where does it go? Let's try that again. All right, there we go. Writing another one. And this time we're going to insert it. Okay, now let's open up the chat history and it's not in there. That is so weird. I saw it. And if we go back in the video history, I'm sure you'll see it. Maybe it's just a glitch. I'm just going to assume that's what it is. Weird. Okay, so the things that you put in there are not actually stored anywhere, it seems, which is weird. Yeah, I don't know. I would have thought that this would be somewhere in your history. You're asking the model to do something. You might want to take a look at previous versions of that or edits that you made, but I guess that's not currently possible. All right, so what else? I think we were going to do something here before I got distracted. Yes. Oh, we actually opened up one of these articles from Hacker News and we were going to look at these. So I went down the rabbit hole of trying to select the different tabs. Can't do that. You can only select the current tab. It seems like you also can only reference a single tab from a brand new chat. So add tabs, you can select one, and that is it. Type a URL. Okay, you can type a URL, but I guess that would only be, this would become a search then. It wouldn't be, you're not asking the model to do anything, just perform like a Google search. So that's not what we're looking for either. Interesting. Feels a bit limited, but I guess they haven't figured that one out yet, how to get multiple tabs as context. And then we've got, of course, these things here. I'm not skipping agent mode just yet. I'm just leaving it for the end because I feel like this is going to be the most interesting one. Help me learn. So this feels like it's probably just, these are just common things people are going to ask when they are opening up ChatGPT in a browser tab. So help me learn. Let's see what happens. Yeah, so it's just giving us like a pre-written prompt. I don't know if anything else is going on in the background. Maybe not. Okay. Open chat menu, switch chat. This is my history. Okay, new chat, open chat in tab. Okay, so just moves it over from the side into its own window if you want to do that. And then, can I go back? What else can we do here? Summarize, can assume the same thing. It's just a prompt. Okay, so nothing too special there. Now let's go to the agent mode right here. So same as in ChatGPT, you have an agent mode. Let me just open it up in case you're not familiar with it. You have it right here. And if you ask it to, okay, hold on. This is new. Logged in, logged out. ChatGPT works alongside you using your logged in accounts. Logged out. Let ChatGPT work alongside you, logged out from your accounts. Okay, so I guess if you ask it to do something kind of risky, you might want to do that while it's logged out. Or if you need it to be logged in because you have information in an account that you wanted to browse, let's say like your email, I would assume that you have to be logged in and you can't just say logged out and be logged in the browser, but ChatGPT is logged out. I don't know. That's what I assume is what this means. And then we've got the search here. Cloud. Yeah, this is new to me. I don't know if I just haven't used agent mode. I've used it a couple of times before, but I don't remember seeing use cloud browser. What is this? Gonna assume you run the ChatGPT agent in the cloud the way that you would do. Let's say if you run it on the mobile app, I would assume that's what happens. And if you don't have it toggled on, you just do it in your actual browser because now it is a browser. So let's give it a try. Not in ChatGPT, but in the browser. And let's say logged in. And I think I'm logged in because it's pulling information from somewhere. I assume I'm logged into something, right? Maybe my Google account. That's probably what I'm likely logged into. Also, I just noticed we have some settings right here in the top. If I click this little icon, it's going to be off screen. So let's see if I can open it from the menu bar on Mac. So what do we have here? Okay, this is very much like you would see on the Dia browser. You get kind of like a badge that, oh, you've been a user for so long and they want you to share it on social media to, I don't know, give people FOMO or something like that. ChatGPT Atlas is not your default browser. Set default. Tab style, classic tabs or scrolling tabs. I'm not familiar with the difference. Just going to leave it classic. They look pretty similar to me. Theme, we've got an accent color. I'm guessing that's where that purple from the little icon when we were editing text comes from. Language, show full URL browser bar, show bookmarks bar, updates, keep it update, multi-factor. Okay, what else do we have here? Web browsing, downloads, ChatGPT page visibility, no disabled sites. Because you can select certain URLs where you just completely disable ChatGPT. Makes sense. Thing most people are going to want to do for things that are very private, like maybe banking or I don't know, basically any page where you don't want ChatGPT to be able to scrape your data or have any access to that. Site search engines. What is this? YouTube. What are site search engines? I'm not sure what this is. I guess any pages that you could search inside of that you want to have as quote unquote search engines for ChatGPT. Maybe you could just set them here. Okay, interesting. I don't remember setting the YouTube one, so I guess it just automatically did that on its own. The rest of the stuff here looks pretty standard for any browser. And I believe this is also based on Chromium, so it's just going to be prettier version of the Google Chrome settings. Customized ChatGPT, that's on. This is the one from ChatGPT, whatever, about any kind of personality settings or additional context you want from the chats. That's what this thing is. here. Memory, reference save memories, manage memories. This is all from ChatGPT. I'm not opening it up because it's a little embarrassing. I'm just going to leave that unopened in the video, but this is the stuff from ChatGPT. The same settings. And you can apparently turn them off. You can also turn off customize ChatGPT. So reference chat history, turn that off as well if you don't want to. Reference browser memories, summarize web pages on this device. What is this? Okay, this is using Apple Intelligence. We don't want to use that. Browser memories. No browser memories yet. Data controls. Okay. So this feels like just the rest of what you would find on ChatGPT.com. And then this last one here, agent mode, describe how ChatGPT should navigate the web. Specify preferred sources, steps to follow, or when to ask for approval. Okay. So not too many options in there, but I'm sure you can access the rest just by going to the proper URL because this is Chromium based. So I'm assuming you could probably tweak them that way. So now let's finally get into agent mode and try it logged in because we're already logged in. Let's do something simple. Let's ask it to find a flight for me. We'll actually set up a couple of them because I have a feeling if my experience with the Perplexity Comet browser is anything to go by, this is going to take quite a while. So we might as well set up a couple of these and we'll see if we can run them in parallel and see what happens if they're actually able to complete the tasks or they get stuck or if it's completely useless AI slop. So let's take a look. All right. So find me the cheapest flight for 2 people from LA to Seoul in November. We'll see what happens. So we get put into this kind of interesting hybrid between ChatGPT and Google and Perplexity. And let's see what happens. So it's planning the search and we'll just take a look at what it's doing. Okay, and it just went into this new view, open up a little sidebar. Now it's doing its browsing. Obviously, I didn't tell it where to go or any additional instructions. I just want to see what is it going to do? How is it going to figure this out? And so now let's see. Nice. Kind of similar to the Comet browser. We have this additional control here. Take control or stop. Nice. We get this cool purple effect. I'm sure you can change the color from the settings. That would be the highlight color or the accent color. Okay, and it's doing stuff. What else do we have here? Anything interesting? Could add stuff. Additional context. Okay, so you can pretty much make use of anything in the browser. We're going to let it do its thing and let's open up another one because like I said, this is probably going to take a while. Let's see what else could we do with this. Okay, so here's another one I wrote. Find me some good N5 level Japanese grammar resources and put them in a spreadsheet. I'm pretty sure I'm logged into Google because I probably logged in at some point during the setup process. If not, I want to see what happens if it fails or rather is unable to do that. Is it going to prompt me? Is it going to get stuck? Let's see what happens. Again, I'm not going to give it any more instructions than that. Agent mode, logged in. Yeah, we'll leave it logged in. We'll see what happens. And off it goes. One interesting thing I noticed is that when it's running agent mode, the little favicon is a arrow that is bouncing up and down. And so that appears to be the logo for the Atlas browser. So that's kind of nice. Just lets you know that something is going on. Okay, so let's jump back. Where is it? So far, so good. Seems to have not gotten stuck. Not having a problem running 2 of these at once. Let's run another one. Let's try something very different. So now let's try something weird. I think it's probably going to fail, but I'm very curious. I have WorkFlowy open here in my tab where I'm taking my notes. I'm going to add some more notes in just a moment, but I'm logged in and ChatGPT is now in the browser. Can it actually manipulate this? Because this is just text. The formatting is maybe a little bit unconventional, but it's still just text. Can it handle that? And this time we're going to do it in the sidebar here. So let's turn on agent mode and let's say just something simple. I really just want to see how it's going to handle a website that is the web app. So how is it going to handle that? Okay, so here we go. Add a list of all the websites I visited today. Add a brief summary under each one. Make sure it's indented. So we'll see what happens. Off it goes. And okay, considering how to process request. Yeah, we'll look at this in just a moment. I'm curious. I don't think it's really going to be able to handle it too well, but maybe it'll surprise me. So we'll see. Oh, and it actually stopped. Quick heads up, adding the list of sites you visited today into this WorkFlowy page will copy sensitive personal data, your browsing history into the document. Okay, nice. So it's actually pausing and letting me know that I'm about to do something very stupid. Before I do it, would you like me to process and pull that information? Yes. And go ahead. All right, let it do its thing. Jump over to the next tab and it seems like it's done. It's actually done both of them. So let's take a look. Worked for 5 minutes. can open up all the things it did. Oh, let's see. All the thinking, a lot of thinking. And the Google Flights page is definitely not the easiest one to navigate. There are a bunch of drop downs and little fiddly things with it. So even for a human, it's not the nicest experience. Just a lot of information is necessary when you're dealing with flights. Let's see. Okay, yeah, this looks about right. Nothing out of the ordinary here. Okay, just summarizing the cheapest flights that it found in the different days that it found them on. Absolute cheapest flight, relevant tabs, view 8 tabs. What is this? Okay, so all the different searches it did. Okay, so far so good. 5 minutes, not too bad. Obviously, I probably could have done it in less time, but one of the nice things about it is I didn't have to do anything. I just wrote the command and off it went and did its thing. Obviously, this was a pretty simple test, but kind of annoying and things that you might put off, even though it's relatively simple. It's just annoying to have to deal with setting a system to go and do that for you, and then you just reviewing the results and picking when you want. Probably could save you a lot of time, especially if you do something like this, either as part of your job or your daily life. Let's take a look at the list, and it did. So I'm logged into Google Sheets, and it opened up a new sheet, pasted the results, worked for 1 minute. Okay. Did a bit of thinking in the 1 minute, but not bad. Honestly, a lot faster than I would have expected. Curious. It seems like it actually didn't browse the web in this case. It says I'll search. So maybe it performed something like a tool call, but didn't actually go to Google and then type in a query and perform a search, something like that. It probably just used whatever API they have for doing web search, and they use that. Okay, not a problem. That's why it was so quick. It was just 1 minute. But it did handle putting the information into Google Sheets, which is nice. No errors. I was logged in. It just took over and did the thing. And it did in about a minute, which is a lot better than I would have expected. Like I said, I've had some experience with the other big AI-powered browser, which is the Perplexity Comet one. And I've tried using their agent, and it does work, but it's ridiculously slow. So unless it's something that you don't need right now, and you're fine with kind of delegating that to the bot, letting it handle it, and then at some point later throughout the day getting back to you, I wouldn't really use it. 5 minutes is not too bad. 1 minute's definitely completely reasonable. So far, so good. Now let's go back. Okay. Surprising. It did indent. Very promising. Very promising. Okay. All right. So these are all the pages that we saw from the Hacker News website. And like I asked, it indented them. Okay. So now I wonder how much more advanced we can get with this. But at least first impressions, pretty good. Didn't crash. Did its thing. Took 2 minutes. Not bad. Surprising. So even though it feels like it's missing a lot of things, one thing I did notice is you cannot do split screen like you can do in some other browsers. That's something I like. So you would normally just grab a tab like this one here and then drag and drop it somewhere and it would split the screen that way. You can't do that. No idea how it's going to handle Chrome extensions, things like that, how they're going to maybe clash with the sidebar or the AI. But at least in terms of what it's able to do so far on day one is pretty decent. I think for most people, this is going to feel like magic. If they've never used an AI-powered browser, this is pretty cool. Let's just do one more test because I'm curious about what's going to happen when you ask it to do something and you are not logged in. Let's say logged out, and we'll say something like, list all my GitHub repositories. I'm definitely not logged into GitHub on this browser, so we're just going to leave it alone for a moment, see if it'll ping us at some point or flag us or give us some warning or something while I just look through this for a moment. Okay, I was just writing some of the new things that we found so far. The agent mode now is in the browser, not just in the cloud. The quick edits thingy, this thing, when you select text and you get a little icon that you can change the text, or it also seems we can create text. And browser history as context. So these are all the new things. And it seems like this is done. Let's see what happened. 17 seconds. And it looks like you're not logged in right now. Please log in. Okay, so it didn't unfortunately warn us. That's kind of annoying because I can imagine if it's something that you're asking it to do and it's going to take many minutes, 10, 20 minutes or more, and at some point it runs into a hiccup, there is no alert. It's just going to pause. Well, I guess you do get sort of an alert. It's not an alert. You get a signal. We didn't have the floating Atlas icon, so that means it stopped doing its thing, but it's not really a warning. Because it does know that it needs something, so it seems like it would be easy to give it a way to let the user know, hey, I need your input, or I need your help, or I'm stuck, or something like that. Otherwise, you might be waiting for it to do something, and it would be stuck or waiting for you. So it did work and it let us know, but not exactly what I was expecting. What else am I missing? It's really just what's new is the agent mode, the tab search, which is maybe I'm just doing it wrong and it's really powerful, but it feels like it just doesn't do anything. You search your tabs, but I guess you're searching browser tab history because this isn't open. And then I click it and nothing happens. I don't know. This feels like it's probably just bugged and whatever it's supposed to do is not doing it. So that's why it feels like it's broken because it is. So yeah, agent mode, pretty powerful, pretty cool. Going to want to play with that. And I wonder how quickly this burns tokens and how much use you're going to get out of that with a regular account. I'm sure because it is launch day and for the next maybe couple of days or weeks, they're going to be very generous with how much usage you can get out of it. So that's really going to determine whether you're going to be able to use this on a day-to-day basis or if it's just going to be like a neat parlor trick you can use every now and then, because otherwise you'll burn through your entire account's usage. Not sure. That remains to be seen. Otherwise, it's a really nice integration, I think, for anyone that uses ChatGPT day in, day out, like I do for all kinds of editing and researching things. Having it in the browser, pretty nice. Having that context inside of every single tab is also very nice. That's really the only reason I switched to Dia as my main daily driver browser. So now that it's in this browser, I think I might just use this. It really just depends on if it breaks any of the pages where I use things like Chrome extensions. So yeah, pretty compelling. Now, what I didn't like, what's missing, in my opinion, which is the correct opinion, we're missing split view. We are missing vertical tabs. So if you've used Arc or if you've used Dia, I think also Perplexity's Comet has it as well. It's just really nice. Instead of this sidebar, you get the tabs. It's just very convenient. You can have way more than what is going to fit at this top bar. I don't know. It just feels like a logical thing to add. I'm sure they're probably going to add it at some point. Split view is a big one. What else? Yes, a big one. Ad blocker. What is going on? There is no ad blocker. And I don't know if you noticed when I opened up that article from Hacker News. It was on, Hacker News. Which one was it? This one here. I guess I've just been spoiled from using Dia day in, day out. I have not seen these ads in a long time. And so it is very jarring to see how many there are on the web. In Dia, it's just a tab that is set on by default and it blocks a crazy amount of ads and trackers and things. I'm not seeing that here. I'm going to assume they're not going to add that because that's probably how they're going to make some of that money back for all of the tokens they're going to be burning. So that might be the thing that actually puts me off from using it instead of Dia, which is a shame because it's really nice. It's really clean, very simple, and it's much faster than a Comet, at least in this very simple couple of tests that I did. I don't know. I think there's definitely a lot to like, and it's early days. It is the day. It was just released this morning, so we'll see what happens. Hopefully they'll continue to improve it. There's a lot of competition, and we get to see some interesting things happening in the AI and browser space. So yeah, just wanted to share my first impressions. Maybe this will inspire you to take the browser for a spin. Unfortunately, it's only available for Mac. As always, that's just the way it is with these things. But on the bright side, you don't actually need to have some sort of an access code or have a subscription to use it. I think you can just open it up, download it, and try it out. So at least if you do have a Mac, try it out. It's worth kicking the tires on it. Pretty interesting. And if you've never used an AI-powered browser, this one is definitely not a bad one to try. So if you'd like to see me review other types of software, be sure to let me know in the comments, and also like and subscribe if you found this video interesting. I will see you in the next video.